What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys have been amazing this so far. Like always, if you're new to the channel, I want you guys to hit the thumbs up, and only if I about value to you guys through this video, who ended the video, I want you guys to subscribe icon. For today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the modifications that I bought last week, or technically a couple weeks ago now. But the car is finally getting modified down in Escondido, California. And I'm hoping to get it back sometime Friday this week. Now in this video, I will be doing a dyno tune video as well as just talking to pretty much my buddy down there and just kind of letting you guys know the modifications that are being done to the car. Now in the previous video where I talk about the $4,500 that I spent in mod, I kind of break down to you guys the different parts that I purchased. But long story short, it's the headers, the X-pipe, the intake, and then obviously the flex fuel. So the dyno tune, I don't believe we're going to be doing with E85, so everything's going to be with 91 octane on the car. So it's going to be the actual horsepower of the car, and then down the road, whenever I put E85 mixed around with the 91 octane, I should have just about 20 to 30 horsepower additional whenever I'm out on the streets. So the main reason why I wanted to do the flex fuel is just because it's better for track performance and stuff like that whenever I decide to do track the car. And as well as just add additional horsepower, and who doesn't like more power. So that's one of the biggest things. Now, since the last video where I pretty much did get in a wreck, now the car was just barely hit. So the damage was really just the back bumper. So that was easy, just pretty much take off the plastic and then fix the light, the brake light that was broken. But other than that, everything else on the car is great in general. There was no damage to the bottom or any electrical parts of the car, so it was just really removing the plastic and then fixing that. So but throughout this video we'll be doing dyno tune and then going more in details to modification aspects. So whenever I go down there to kind of just review the car, you guys get to see the actual video of the dyno tune, as well as just kind of like, just going through the whole baseline of like what it was when it was stock, and then what it was post the modifications. If you guys have any questions throughout the video, or just any questions in general in regards to what I've done to the C7 Corvettes, go down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys want to see. So far, what I do want to do down the road for the car, it will probably be doing a supercharge on the car. But again, that is something that I want to do mostly for the additional 100 horsepower. But again, it's just one of those things that is not really necessary, because 500 horsepower out on the streets is already more than good enough for a daily driver. I'm gonna be being pretty damn loud. So I'm very satisfied with the car. It just comes down to whether I decide to actually use it for track, or if I decide to continue daily driving it for work related things. But without further ado, alright guys, so we finally got the car back into the garage. As you guys saw on the dyno, we ended up doing roughly about 450. Now that was not with E85, so E85 would roughly get us to 480, close to 490. Now he did mention for a fact that I did lose roughly about 20 more horsepower, mostly due to excessive amount of airflow. So I'm going to break down to you everything that we have done to the car. As you guys can see, all the parts are back here and behind me. One of the biggest things that we ended up improving is on the weight of the car. So all these stock parts, roughly specifically the X-pipe and ultimately all the headers and everything else, we ended up losing close to about 30 to 40 pounds on the car. So that was actually pretty awesome. So pounds and on the weight on the car with additional horsepower gains, is a huge difference when it comes to just how light the car feels. So right off the gate, like you guys can see, the AFE cold air intake. So that's probably the biggest change. Obviously, that's one of the things that I wanted for sure. And then we ended up doing the atomic pretty much intake for manifold. So that is, those two things alone added an additional, you know, quite a bit of horsepower, because it helps the better airflow to the engine itself. Now we did do, as well as the LG headers. I don't know if you guys can see very well here, but we ended up doing the LG headers as well as the X-pipe, and I did do the custom cables. We also ended up having this added on, so it actually doesn't burn the cables with the headers when they get excessively hot. So that pretty much covers up when it comes to the cables. Obviously the GM stock cables were not going to be very comfortable with the new headers, so I figured it would probably be better for me to change those and then add on the protection aspect for the actual cables. Now the good thing about this build is that I have a huge space back here, so I'm going to show you here in a second. I have all this space right here that allows for me to potentially do a pro charger, which is probably what I will be doing here within the next year or so, is add on a pro charger to the car, and it will pretty much boost me up to roughly about 600 horsepower. So as you guys can see, I have all this opened up for me. Now the only way I would do is to lose a little bit more weight, would potentially be to remove these and replace them for a little bit lighter things. But other than that, honestly, pro charger would probably be the way to go next. But honestly, I'm super excited about the car so far. I absolutely love it. The LG header sounds amazing. My only probably the pros and cons to the car would be the sound. Now for me, it's not a problem. I love the V8 sound. I love, you know, the race car sound aspect of things. But obviously, if you have passengers like your girlfriend or friend or whatever it is, and they don't particularly like car engine sound, they're not going to be a fan of it because it is extremely loud now, specifically on the inside. There is a buzzing sound, and it does sometimes sound like very much like a trumpet. So it sounds extremely loud, mostly because I have a straight pipe in the back. So this is where the con part comes into play, is that I lost roughly about 20 horsepower because of the AWE track axle back that I have. So the track axle back is just pretty much a straight pipe. So it means all the airflow just goes straight out. There's no actual axle back that covers up the sound, which would be these things right here. So I don't have these on the actual car. It's literally just a straight pipe, and it just goes straight out. So whenever I will be driving later on, whenever I call started here soon, I will show you guys a video on, no, there's just the axle back by itself, and then just the LG headers, X-pipe, and the axle back together for AWE. And honestly, it's pretty fucking scary because it does sound probably about 10 times louder than you would expect it to. So if you're not used to it, it will be kind of a big awakening. Like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna wake up all my neighbors. It's only like 10 in the morning right now. So the biggest thing obviously would be the additional roughly about 70 horsepower gain. I could have been a little bit higher, but this is obviously, you know, getting those stock axle back in. The only thing that I do not like, and I'm kind of asking you guys your opinion on this, is that these ones are about 30 pounds heavier, 30 or 40 pounds heavier than the AWE track axle back. So if I do put those back in, I'm pretty much just getting the weight back that I remove with everything else that I removed so far, which is the X-pipe, obviously the headers and everything else. So is it worth me, you know, gaining 20 more horsepower, gaining 30 pounds more weight, or is it worth for me to just kind of suck it up when it comes to sound and just kind of keep it the way it is? Now I'm moving out of California, so this would be legal where I'm going. I'm going to Arizona. Here in California, obviously with the airflow system that I have, definitely not legal, definitely not going to pass a smoke test because there's literally no cats on this car. So it's completely catless headers, and everything else is just pretty much a straight airflow. That's why it is extremely loud. But honestly, I love the sound of it because it literally sounds like a race car that you have on a track. So to the engine, it's roughly about 550 horsepower. To the wheel, it's about 454, like you guys saw on the dyno. So it's a huge improvement from 380. Now these cars, to the actual engine is about 460. That's what it says whenever you buy them. But really, realistically speaking, when it comes to the actual wheel, it's about 380 to 390. Occasionally you will have those low 400s, but it really depends on what type of dyno you use. So it really comes down to that. But honestly, going from 480 all the way up to 450 is a big improvement. I do have flex fuel kit on it. I just obviously put E85 on it, so whenever I started later and ultimately drive it around, it would be on E85 and not 91 octane. So horsepower and improvement is going to be huge. So I have to take it here to get cleaned up a little bit, because obviously it was in the garage the past week or so, so it's a little bit dirty. So I'm gonna go clean it up here soon. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section whether I should add the axle back, the stock axle back onto the car, or if I should just keep the AWE track axle back and let it just rip it pretty much the entire way. I personally love the sound. Others, again, might get very annoying to my neighbors. But stay tuned. I will be doing obviously a before and after video of with just the AWE track axle back and the full exhaust system axle back. It will be at the beginning of this video or at the end. Other than that, enjoy this video. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day.